Bethesda announced a barrage of games at E3 2018. Doom Eternal, Rage 2, Fallout 76, Starfield, and The Elder Scrolls 6. And recently, old Todd Howard has been doing the rounds talking about all of them.
In an interview with Eurogamer, Bethesda Game Studios head Todd Howard said Starfield will be a next-gen game. Speaking at the Game Lab Developers Conference, Howard was asked by Eurogamer what exactly he meant by that. Howard told them, quote, "That to us means two things. It does mean hardware and it does mean software on our side, and it also means gameplay. What does the next generation of epic single-player RPGs feel like to us? What systems we put it on, what's the hardware requirements, is still to be determined. We're pushing it. We're thinking very, very far in future, so we're building something that will handle next generation hardware. That's what we're building on right now. That's where our mind is, but that doesn't mean it wouldn't exist on current systems as well."
These comments echo similar remarks Howard made during the E3 announcement of Starfield last month. At the Bethesda conference, Starfield was described as a brand new, single-player, next-generation title which has been years in the making. Eurogamer pressed Howard on what he meant by single-player, asking him would Starfield be single-player in the same way Fallout and Elder Scrolls are. Here's the response, quote, "I don't want to say yes or no to that because I don't know what that means to you or whoever's going to read that. It's different, but if you sit down and play it, you would recognize it as something we made, if that makes sense. It has our DNA in it. It has things that we like. But it has a lot of new systems we've been thinking about for a while that fit that kind of game really well. We'll talk about it in the future. See, now I wish I hadn't announced it." That was a joke, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Or breaking news. I don't know.
I mean, he's obviously very uncomfortable. He's not used to talking about games that are coming in the far, far future. He's usually got something solid to talk about, but he knows whatever's in the build right now of the game might not be there in final release. So he doesn't want to go so far as to commit to things like maybe Peter Molyneux might do, or Sean Murray. I feel like the way that a Eurogamer are asking these questions, like, so what do you mean by that? So what do you mean? I reckon that Sean Murray would have done better if Eurogamer were asking the questions.
They're good questions in the sense that they're open because they're just saying, please explain more about this. And he could bite hard on that and come out with some stuff, but he's not. He's just kind of said, it's basically games industry. We're not prepared to talk about the project at this time. Kind of response that he's given, but in a more kind of colloquial way. But I don't know. I think that he is wary because it is that far in the future. You don't want to be saying this is going to be in it and that's going to be in it when maybe it won't. He can't even commit to if it's going to be similar to Elder Scrolls and Fallout. He says it's going to kind of be like that. It's going to feel the same, but also not at all because I don't want to commit to saying that it's going to be like this game. So it's clearly a long way off still. That's the bottom line.
Will it feel the same in the way that it uses the same engine? Is my next question, because I think in the past he has implied that they're working on a new engine for a future game.
It's got to be.
Because they've been using that creation engine since 2011 or even before that, because it's based on a different engine. This new Fallout 76 is using the creation engine, but with they've adapted it for multiplayer and that. So fans are crying out, Todd. Obviously, he has to address that. He's probably seen that because from what we take away from E3, he's reading a lot of what people are saying online. So he knows they need a new engine. It's just a case of, is it going to be in Starfield? Yes, please.
It's difficult to see how they can use that engine in a game called Starfield. It just doesn't feel like a good fit.
In other Bethesda news, Todd Howard spoke to the website multiplayer.it about some of the gameplay mechanics in the upcoming Fallout 76. According to the translation by VG247, Howard was asked how PvP would work in 76 and would new players have to worry about being wiped out by high-level players griefing them. Howard confirmed there will be safeguards in place to prevent high-level players from griefing. And the big one, players under level 5 can't be killed in PvP, although this might change before the game releases. Howard also confirmed you are in no way forced to interact with other players, and eventually the game would have private servers where you can set the rules and change things at your own discretion. He also confirmed fast travel would be in Fallout 76, but he didn't get into the specifics of how it would work.
All sounds very MMO-ish to me. That's quite an MMO-ish idea, protecting new players by making the starting area a safe zone, or putting a level cap on, a bottom cap on when you can start taking part in PvP and stuff. Just something to protect players. Sounds very MMO-ish, and it's weird. It's not an MMO, but the games are going to be more like that, like live services where you've got MMO elements coming in. Interesting.
There is fast travel again, so
it's a huge map.
People just going to teleport and just like disappear from under you, or are you going to be a proximity thing where you in like Fallout New Vegas or whatever, you can't fast travel unless you're a certain distance away from people? That makes sense.
Enemies are nearby, you can't rest, you can't fast travel,
exactly.
that kind of thing.
There is obviously concerns from players who don't want to be griefed, and this again goes a little bit further to explaining that you won't be killed all the time. My question is if you are the under level 5 character, because you can't be killed, right? Could you grief everybody else?
Scrappy dude, just kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So all the big players maybe making small characters just to grief people. That's a balancing issue as well.
And finally, in Todd Howard news, during an interview with Game Reactor, the industry icon said Bethesda is looking to do more things with the Nintendo Switch in the future. Game Reactor asked Howard if Bethesda was planning on bringing more titles to the Switch, specifically mainline Fallout games. Here's what Todd had to say, quote, "Well, there's definitely interest, but not something that we are exploring right now. We think that the Switch is a great platform. It was the first time we really worked closely with Nintendo on Skyrim. Really, really great experience, and we'll certainly be doing things with the platform in the future. But right now, it's not a mainline Fallout." When asked what his personal feelings on the Switch were, Howard said, quote, "I love it. When Nintendo came to us, we were one of the first people that they showed the Switch to. So I got to play it very, very early and immediately felt that this is unique. It's not just a handheld, it's also a console and it's very uniquely Nintendo." So there's not going to be a mainline Fallout coming to the Switch anytime soon, which is kind of disappointing because Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, either one of them, you make loads of money. Put it on there for about 20-30 quid. Loads of money.
Yeah, I mean...
Free business advice there for you. You're welcome.
There you go. Mike says yes on this occasion.
Yes.
I feel like they will come eventually. The remasters will come. Fallout 3 has to be remastered at some point, and as part of that push, maybe they'll bring it to the Switch. It needs it. Skyrim did really well. I really enjoyed playing Skyrim again on my Switch. It fits really well, and it's a natural fit, Todd. Why aren't you doing it? Fallout Shelter. Nobody wants that shit.
How do you feel about Starfield? What are your predictions for it? Do you think it's going to be using the same old Bethesda engine that we know and love, or is it going to be a new engine? What do you think? Let us know down in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. There's another video right there which you could watch right now if you want, and a link to Patreon if you want to support the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.